and D. Well, today we are going to be about solutions. So it conjured up this question that I had that because I feel like there's things that I feel like if you explain parenting in today's world to a lot of older people won't get, and I feel like you see a lot of people, older people, not liking the way a lot of modern people are raising their kids now. So I um my question to the panel was always, what are things that, especially for the people with kids, what are things that you feel like as a parent you can take from them and then you can leave behind?
Well, I'll let, I'll let somebody else go first. I guess I'm saying. So yeah. Well, I actually think that something I would take from the old generation is not giving your child as many choices on what they're going to do and what they want to do and what they don't want to do. Some things you should have your child do and have them become accustomed to for the betterment of their future.
I like that. I like that answer.
I think ass would need to come back into this new generation. We can show enough bring that thing up. Um, I'm not
The
saying
belt.
child abuse might not need to come, but definitely some ass whooping need to
You
come.
talking about that belt?
That belt, had them go to the tree and get their little switch.
You talking about
But
that pootie tang? That pootie tang combat?
these kids right now, you can clearly tell they ain't getting none. It was crazy because back then you used to see white kids, turning up, acting crazy, and you used to just be like, "Uh, they parents don't have no control." And now you seeing black kids with the same personality that we saw, like the white kids was having.
But you know what sucks about giving kids whoopings, and I had to learn the hard way. Um, the girl children, they get it. They get it. They'll back off. But the boy children, as they get older, and you still trying to like rough them up or slap them up behind their head in public and shit like that, they take that shit hard and they start rebelling. And one day, my son just looked at me and said, "That's it." So I said, I can't do this. My arm is tired. I'm huffing and puffing. This ain't for me. So, due to a
They start
certain
getting hit by
situation.
men. They start getting hit by men.
Yeah,
That's what
it's
that was.
right. You
And
know
in
what?
comparison, it's not the
Yeah,
same.
it is not the same. It really isn't because when his dad hit him, it's a whole different ball game. But I realized that it was hurting him on an emotional
Mhm.
level. And I didn't want my son to think it's okay for a grown ass woman when he gets an adult to put hands on him.
Mhm.
I didn't want to teach him that because I've had girl children for a reason. If he can't hit the girl, get your sisters. But that's on another level. I just don't want him to be in a situation where he even has to think that that's okay. So yeah, I do think whoopings help,
Powerful.
but I don't think that I don't think that you gotta continue, and it hurts.
No,
It
no.
does really hurt boy children, man. It just. I'm not saying that girl children don't get hit, but they listen a lot more than boy children. I don't care what anybody says. Boys be testing you. Like, I wonder if what I can get away with today. But
Mhm.
yeah, as a woman, learning my motherhood now, I learned a lot putting hands on my kid, my son especially.
That's that testosterone. That's why they be rebelling against that shit. That
Mhm.
I'd say
And they
testosterone,
know
the
the
son of
role
a
in the
bitch.
house.
I'd
And
say
they do
do it
know the role
worse.
in the house because they be looking at the mom like, I can't believe she talking to me like that. Dad, like, no, we not doing this. Y'all ain't ganging up on me.
Mm.
I'd say just do what works, man. Um, hmm. I had it, just left me. It just left me. Okay, so I think it's because we need to just cut off. I think it's social media. I think it's the access to the internet and the phone at such a young age that, and there's such a separation. You know, there's a disconnect because of it. Nobody's doing anything anymore. Nobody's taking their kids out. It's not, you know, certain places that it is, but you know, you could tell, you know, what's going on based on who was doing this and who was doing that, who's active, being with family, traveling, stuff like that, or you know, or at least going to their friend's house and so, you know. But now we're just instant access. We're getting into stupid trends. This is, you know, and it's starting at a young age, and like the parents, some of them don't even know what's going on, and like some of the parents join in. So like it's damn, you know. So I say, you know, just let's just chill with this. This is like, this ain't necessary for life. We didn't have this social like at this level, yo. This much access to everything like this. Nah, we had a waiting period. We had to listen to certain sounds through dial-up. We had to wait. Okay, what was it? 56. What was it again? You know,
America Online.
You couldn't
Yeah.
even you couldn't even listen to your favorite song immediately. You had to wait for the other songs to play on the radio first.
Exactly. It was a chore. That was something to do when you came home from having fun. You know, because you know you're done. You sit home. You could use the computer. You know, nothing to do. So you could
Well,
wait.
not one.
But nah, you were doing shit, yo. And there was no stupid trend. Whatever you did, you discovered on your own. The parents were paying attention, yo. They were always asking where they, you know, they ain't doing some stupid shit, you know? Or some of the things, these trends with the kids, and like now you're your kid's best friend. What the fuck is this? No, you're not supposed to be your kid's best. What are you doing? You're the parent, yo. So let's calm this down. And now they're making money off of them. Like, so this generation, imagine. You know, so when the old heads are looking down at it, it's like, yo, what? A joke. You know, so it's you know. I
But
don't know. So I
the
say,
old
because you
heads,
said solutions, you know. So I'm like, yeah, let's stop that. Let's cut that off. It ain't necessary. You know.
I got a problem with the old heads too, though. The old heads like to tell you like how you can live your life current day, but they don't understand what's going on in the current day.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't really pass on appropriate wisdom to the kids because they not hip on what's happening today. Because what's happening today and what's happening like 40 years ago is completely different thing. Like when they like how these boomers like to say, "Oh, you kids today are lazy. You still live with your parents, and you live in apartments. You don't have houses." Well, the housing market is completely different now than it was back then.
It's too expensive now.
Yes, so it's like I don't really care too much about what people who are very old got to say because they're not living in the same situations.
Honestly, I think we need to be careful with that type of like talk because we're gonna be old one day. We're gonna be in that exact same situation. So be very
already are.
careful. You know what
Well,
I'm
I mean,
saying?
if you're in that same situation, you need to be hip on what's going on. That way,
Yeah,
you
but
can better. Yeah,
sometimes it's not that obvious. They're living in an entirely new like world paradigm. So sometimes it is not that obvious. We think it's obvious because it's in our face, but sometimes for those old people, they're stuck with what they know and they don't venture off too far into the unknown. So it just may be just that they're ignorant. You feeling what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying y'all need to be careful when y'all say that because sometimes it's not just as simple as they're old and they're boomers. Sometimes it's, yo, this is an entirely new fucking world I'm in. And to even try to even enter it without any type of like buffer or without any type of guide is going to overwhelm them because it's an overwhelming amount of information that we have at our fingertips. Think of it back then. The pace was a lot slower because you needed to write shit down back then. You needed to tell someone back then. Now we sending things like at a fucking blink of the fucking tap of a button. That's overwhelming for a lot of people. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, I agree in the sense that they are ignorant to what's going on today, but for the fact that they had to grow up in way different circumstances than we have, it also works to their benefit to why they are that ignorant. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's what I
I
said.
feel like this. I feel like this is another reason why they say you should have kids young, because not young, but when you like late mid 20s, early 30s, probably, because you can kind of still keep up and relate to what's going on in the world, in the youth a little bit.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that's dependent on the state of the world. If the state of the world is in constant repression, a recession and depression, then people are going to have less kids because they can't afford them.
And they're going to have them later too.
They're going to have them later. So it's like we're going to have a generation of kids that's probably going to be raised by people that are like pretty old because of the circumstances of what we're dealing with right now. And the funniest thing about it all is that all of this could have been completely avoidable if we just kept up. If, like, not only just politics, but the people that vote the most just kept up with what people were saying. But they don't do that. We're stuck in echo chambers. That's why it's so difficult to get shit done in America, because everyone's in a damn echo chamber.
You know how many times certain things come up, certain circumstances come up, and you're like, and you remember when your parent or grandparent said something, and you're like, you didn't get it. You're like, shut up, or whatever. It just went wrong because you didn't listen. Then you get, and then fast forward to that moment, and you're like, oh, I get it. Shit, and you feel it.
It doesn't hit you until you're older.
Yeah, you're like, oh my god, now I know why they did that. Now I know, because if they did, I would have. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that just happens because some things don't change.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was saying. I started at a young age. Like, that's what I said. Like, because that question was about solutions, and I was like, yeah, that's what we should start. So at a young age, it's done proper. And we know we're discussing it. We're like, we know what works. So that so if we start them, let's get off of this stuff, because look at what it's doing. Like right now, look what it shows. We talk about things that's going on the internet now. Kids now, like, imagine them on this stuff. Fast forward, like everything's like they're not even in tune with anything around them anymore. Like nature, there's no empathy. There's like all that's being stripped away because you're just focusing on this one thing, not seeing the world, So we know, like us, we know this. We're having this discussion. We'll be able to be like, all right, let's start there. Hopefully, someone listening is like, all right, let me try that.
They're not touching the grass.
Yeah.
I think with this modern parenting, a lot of these kids are so much of adults now that it's crazy to me. Like they dress in adult forms, like they working. I'm like, yo, what happened to being little kids?
There's no tween phase. That's what it is. Remember when there was a tween phase?
Yeah.
Like I said, remember the parents are joining.
The
parents are joining. So.
No, because like back then, only little toddlers, like 2Z, 3Z, 4Zs, or 5Zs that you saw that was wearing makeup, they more than likely was like pageant kids. So now, kids ain't doing nothing in life but making TikTok videos, full-fledged makeup on at the age of 3, weave like lace frontal, all the way to they kneecaps. At like 5 years old, I'm just like, wow. Is this a little person adult?
Who's raising them? The TV or the internet?
The internet. That's
Which one's
who it
more
is.
dangerous?
So they
both